The star doesn't need the headphones.
I guess not.
Well, first ever Dunes podcast, Behind the Dunes. We're starting 2022 off with a bang. We're here with Jeff Hunt. Excited for you to be here, Jeff.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Jeff is a very special guest to me. When I first got into real estate, Jeff was my mentor for a few years. I was on a team with Jeff, but he has been with Dunes for probably, over 10 years now. Yeah. He's been our top salesman every year, just crushing it, and really just blew it out of the water this year with his best year ever. I think he did just under $80 million in volume.
Yeah, amazing.
Crushed it.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely outstanding. But I got to ask, I know you did just under 80 million, but I know you also have like a rare bacteria in your cornea that you've been dealing with since like May. So
yeah,
how did you do that?
It's been kind of crazy. Don't know how we got it. It's in my cornea. I've had to go to the doctor repeatedly, like 3 or 4 times a week up in Charleston. But it is getting better. I had a lot of great people around me. That's how I did it. It wasn't me. It has very little to do with me, actually. It's all the people around me that helped me.
Wouldn't say that.
So I've had. It was a tremendous year, and even with the eye, I was very fortunate to get to where I did. So yeah.
And he ended the year. We'll talk about it a little later, but ended the year with receiving the Realtor of the Year award for the entire Hilton Head Bluffton real estate market. So.
That was quite
obviously,
the honor.
we're very proud of you for that. Yeah. That is just an amazing honor. So,
well, that was quite the honor, given that when you look around the room and you see the other people that it could have been, it's a big deal for me personally, because the people that I'm looking around that were so deserving of it, it was an amazing night. I was totally surprised.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. We're so happy for you, and
well, thank you.
Obviously, proud to have you with the team and everything that you do to help us. So in today's episode, we're probably going to get down more into the nitty gritty of who is Jeff Hunt. Let's find out more about him, even outside of work. And let's see what really makes him tick. So first question for you, I would like to know is, going back to your earlier days, what got you into real estate? What led you to this career?
When I was in high school, I had a friend, and his father had bought a rental house. And I was probably 17, and I became just totally enthralled with the fact this guy was going to rent this house out and this guy was going to pay him money, and that really got me thinking about real estate. And as a career, I never really thought about that. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I was buying up rental properties and stuff like that, and just really just never occurred to me to do it as a living until I sold my business and I had all these rental properties, and I thought, I could help other people do this, and I just love it. I love the people. I love the numbers, just working through the math. As you know, John and I always had math questions for John.
Many conversations in my earlier years.
Yeah, and I'm just totally eat up with it for some reason. It's just a really great profession, and I've been very fortunate to be in it for sure.
And like even outside of Dunes, how long have you been doing it total, you think?
About 17 years.
Wow. Okay.
Total, yeah. I was with Dunes early on, changed companies, and realized that Dunes is just one of the best overall companies out there in terms of integrity, their place in the market. The people that are there they're just unparalleled. I mean, the support that you get in a place, that environment it's obviously made a big difference in my career and my ability to go out and sell.
Awesome. You kind of hit on it already, but I was going to ask, what do you enjoy most about it? Obviously the people and everything else, but
it's the people, the support, their willingness to help at every turn, whether it's something simple like make a few copies or something more complicated of gathering information. Everybody's willing. Everybody's just been willing to help me in every way. My assistant Shaylin, she's top shelf. She helps me with the day-to-day grind of everything, because it can be challenging, in real estate. But yeah, it's mainly the people. It's the people and the ethics and everything that we always strive to achieve in this business. It's rare sometimes, but at Dunes, it's very commonplace to operate at a high level, and I like that. And we got agents that I can compete with, that make it kind of fun. We've got other agents that are, very, very high producers, and it pushes me.
Yeah.
So, and I hope I'm able to push them a little bit as well.
I'd say so. You always get somebody to chase.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
It's always good to be number two.
Yeah.
Sometimes, right? See, or have that feeling of when you're number one, have that feeling of the pressure of somebody pushing upon you. And it's all done in a very fun and respectful manner. So that's an enjoyable part of it as well.
Yeah. Everybody loves a good bit of friendly competition.
Yeah, that's right. And it just makes it a little more fun. It takes a little bit of the pressure off sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, very fortunate.
Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's find out some favorites and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But
more about Jeff Hunt.
let's see Jeff's favorite spot to eat on the island.
Ooh, on the island, that's tough. I got a couple. Really enjoy, if I'm in the mood for a good steak, I like Alfred's or the Sage Room. Both are just fantastic. From an Italian standpoint, that's even harder because there's so many.
So many.
On there. I mean, Michael Anthony's is one, Pomodori. There's just several. Nunzio's. I'd probably say Michael Anthony's and Pomodori are probably my two favorite Italian places.
All right, so for favorite Italian places, what's your favorite thing to get at those restaurants?
I got to tell you, my wife makes fun of me because I get the same thing every time I walk in there because it's just so good.
It's good. It's good.
If I go to Alfred's, they've got a filet, au poivre. It is just fantastic. I mean, the flavor that comes out of it, it's always the same. Their consistency is just amazing. And oddly enough, they have a little appetizer, potato pancakes. It's really good.
Yeah.
So that's what I like there.
We getting lunch after the podcast?
Yeah, I know. At Michael Anthony's, we've done one thing that they do. They provide cooking classes that you can take there. That's a lot of fun, and you make the food, you get to eat the food, and some of their sauces, their bolognese, and they just have so many different types of sauces, and that's what I love about them. And everything's so fresh.
I love that.
We went to Italy. We were in Italy and in Tuscany, and everything was so fresh. And Michael Anthony's is probably the closest thing that I get to that. And Pomodori's. I got to say, Pomodori's, they've got an arrabbiata sauce that I love. I get that with shrimp and linguine. Every time I walk through the door, I get the same thing.
Yeah.
So are you one of those guys, once you find something that you really like at a restaurant, you get the same thing every time you go there?
I run it in the ground.
Yeah.
I do.
I'm the same way.
I run it in the
Exact
ground.
same, yeah.
I'll
love it.
occasionally try something new because my wife has gotten something different. I'll taste it, but I'll like it. But I'll probably going back to my old standby.
Same way.
I'll say walking in, I'm trying something different today, and I'll still
And you
order
get the
the
same
Exactly.
thing. I know.
Or like
Every
you said,
time.
It's boring.
or like you said, my wife, you order something, let me taste it, see
That's
what it's
right.
about. But yeah.
But there's so many good things on all of those restaurants on the island. They just, their service is great. The consistency, we're missing some consistency these days in our restaurants. Not with these guys. It's pretty on spot every time I go in. So I can't complain.
What about favorite activity? So outside of eating.
Outside of eating?
Outside of eating.
I enjoy the bike trails.
Yeah.
On the island. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite things to do. Sometimes we haven't done it in a while, but my wife and I would jump on our bikes and ride to breakfast on a Sunday morning. It's just relaxing. Real estate can have a few little stress points in it, as you remember.
Just a little.
So it's nice just to get out there and just see nature. I mean, our nature here is just off the chart, with the birds and dolphins and manatees and stuff. So I enjoy just being outside, the beach, riding our bikes down the beach and stuff like that. That's probably one of my top things I would enjoy. Yeah.
It's very, very bikeable location.
There's like 150 or 60 miles of bike trails on this island.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You can literally bike anywhere.
Anywhere. I
Yeah.
tell people all the time, you can bike to your dry cleaner, you can bike to dinner, you can bike to a Broadway show. I mean, you can.
And the best
bike
part is
anywhere.
it's so safe because
That's right.
the bike paths are so big.
And they're far enough away from the road.
Yeah.
You don't have to really worry about anything. So, yeah, it's a pretty special place for sure in regards to that. Not to mention the 30-some parks that we have on the island, that you could ride your bike to. So it's a good way to get around.
So going off activities, are you more of a golf guy or tennis, pickleball, stuff like that?
I'm a golf guy. My wife is a big pickleball player. She plays nearly every day now.
Really?
Yeah, she's retired, so she's enjoying that. I'm definitely a golf guy. I like the beauty of the golf courses. I like chasing my ball, down the fairway. John and I have played before, so John knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Jeff's the guy that hadn't played in 2-3 years, comes out, first drive right down the middle. I'd be playing every month, right into the woods. You just get mad. Just like, okay.
Yeah.
Jeff, what's your favorite course?
Favorite course? I like the Fazio course. I probably like Fazio and Arthur Hills over in Palmetto Dunes. Those are really good courses.
I love Fazio.
If I'm going to a private club, Long Cove, extremely nice golf club, and great people over there as well. And Wexford has done some work at their clubhouse and stuff. That's another great course for a private club, and obviously Harbortown.
Oh yeah.
How can you not like Harbortown?
Yeah.
Right.
It's a little intimidating, but it's a good course as well.
This kind of hints back to what you've already spoke about, but let's visualize a Sunday, 82 degrees, perfect weather, no work.
Yeah, no work.
No work. So this is a free day for the hunts.
Yeah.
What does the entire day look like? Like, how would that transpire from morning to night? What would
I'd say I would enjoy getting up, going to Southern Coney or Watusi for breakfast, then heading over to the marina in Hilton Head Plantation, jumping on the boat, and maybe going up the May River and having lunch at Palmetto Bluff and stuff like that. We really enjoy that.
That's a good day.
So, and at some point, just kind of drop anchor and just float.
So is that boat or beach guy? Does that mean you're more boat?
Probably more boat than beach. Yeah, probably more boat than beach. Yeah,
which is wild to.
I enjoy.
People think of Hilton Head and the beach, but we're sitting here at Shelter Cove Marina with all the boats behind us.
I tell you, John, there are so many things to do here, and people think it's the beach and is the only thing we have, and it's truly not. It's amazing. It really is. The options that you have, whether it's going to a festival, going to a Broadway show, getting on a boat, going to the beach, playing golf, tennis, pickleball. It's a myriad of choices for just about everybody. So, but yeah, I enjoyed the boating part.
Yeah.
So going up the May River is always fun. The dolphins are always out. And
fish?
Like that. I haven't fished in many years, but I enjoy it. We did go deep sea fishing a number of years ago, me and a couple buddies. We didn't catch a single thing, but we had a good time, But the fishing here is pretty amazing too. I got friends of mine that go out. They come out almost every day. They come back with something really good, and it's fresh.
Oh yeah,
man, is it good when it's fresh?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I believe it.
yeah, it's good stuff.
I don't do well on boats. I've always wanted to do it, but
Yeah, boats can be tricky, especially with the waves and the currents here. Docking a boat here is a little more challenging because of the currents. But overall, I'd say put me on a boat.
Yeah,
put me on a boat.
So does that? Well, I was going to say steak or seafood. Like if you were just craving the biggest thing ever. We're in Hilton Head Island. Everybody assumes seafood, but would that be true, or is it more
I'm
the
beef
steak?
guy.
Yeah,
I'm a beef guy. I'm old school.
That's kind of what I
I'm
figured.
a beef guy. However, we did do a cooking class, getting back to Michael Anthony's, and
I saw that on your Facebook or something. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
We cooked up a grouper, and I'm telling you, it was the simplest thing. It was salt and pepper and a little bit of flour, and it was fantastic. So I would say a good steak or the grouper at Michael Anthony's would be fine with me.
you guys are killing me right now with all the food.
know.
I'm so
I
hungry.
know, right? We might have to cut this short and go get some lunch.
Let's get to going. Yeah,
Oh,
get to
man.
the important stuff.
I didn't
That's
eat
right.
breakfast today, and all we're doing is talking about steak.
I know, we're talking about food. So
All right, favorite cut of steak if you're cooking.
if I'm cooking, probably a filet. If I go out, I had a friend of mine that he ordered a strip steak one night, and it was peppercorn encrusted, which I'm a pepper junkie. And so when I go out, like to the Bluffton Room or Sage Room, I'll get the strip steak, peppercorn encrusted, you know, and I can't get enough of it, man. It is so good. Yeah, we are definitely going to cut this day short, man. We're going to have to move on to something else.
Just
other
take
than
the
food.
microphones over to the restaurant.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Do y'all go to Bluffton a good bit? I mean, I know you live in Paradise, but a lot of people still seem to venture over to Bluffton and Old Town.
We do. We go to Old Town Bluffton. There's some great restaurants down there. I enjoy Bluffton, especially Old Town. It's been the revitalization of that whole area has been tremendous.
Yes.
The economic impact of that is it's staggering. People have no idea. You know, people think of Bluffton as being 278 corridor, but it's really not. There's some great places down in Bluffton and some great restaurants like the Bluffton Room or Agave, you know, places like that.
The Pearl, that's one I went to.
That's
recently.
another one, yeah.
Really
Had a really good steak at the Pearl. There we
I
go
did too.
again, talking steaks again, right?
I actually
Big
got
slab
seafood
of
when I went
beef.
to the Pearl.
A
So,
big slab of beef. So,
Oh man.
yeah. So that's, that's a great area. Yeah. Love going to Bluffton for sure.
Since like our proximity to like from the island, you're, 10 minutes from Bluffton, 40 minutes from Savannah?
Yep.
Hour 40 from Charleston.
Yep.
Like, do you venture out and go to like those other places often?
You know, we do. Other than going to Charleston for my eye every week, we go up there sometimes for a weekend. We enjoy going downtown, the whole old South feel.
Yeah.
You know, restaurants there they like are High Cotton is a good one. Hall's Chop House, always a great place to go. If you haven't been, it's a good one. But yeah, we enjoy just going to these places and doing little staycations kind of thing. You know, same thing in Savannah. You know, going down by the water and stuff for a day or so. It's nice. It's fun. It's good. We have so much around us that's so close. Even Jacksonville is 2 hours away.
I forgot about Jacksonville.
You know,
Amelia Island too.
Amelia Island, we've been to Amelia Island a couple times. And even Ponte Vedra, we'll go down there and stay for a weekend.
St. Augustine.
Yep.
St. Augustine.
We've been down there twice in the last couple of years,
There's so much stuff that's close to us here.
So much.
Three super historic cities, Beaufort, Savannah,
Yeah.
Charleston, all within an hour and a half.
Beaufort.
right.
Both of
That's
them, maybe
Right
45 minutes, and then Charleston's 2 hours or something.
right here.
So it's pretty wild.
It is, and we're fortunate to be so close, and even more fortunate to be able to take advantage of it and to recognize it. You know, when you live here, it's always good to come back home and be on the island. But we do have some pretty spectacular places that we can go, and we do it fairly often, multiple times a year. You know, especially to Charleston.
Now with the airports expanding too, we have so many different areas for like direct flights for access here and then access from here to other places too. It's pretty cool.
Yep, we're seeing a lot more people flying in here because of that, and it's really amped up. The rentals here are off the chart, and they're bringing in a new flair, a new flavor of wherever they're from. You know, which adds even more stuff to our little melting pot. So it's a real plus for sure. The airport's been a big plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very convenient.
Yeah.
Let's get a little deeper.
Here we go.
We've had many conversations over the years, so you may have heard some of this, but I'm also pretty intrigued to find out more. And we'll start kind of with a big one and then work through some other things. But for Jeff Hunt, what would your definition of success be?
That's a great question, because success is measured by so many different things. Some people measure it by money, by the size of their house or their car or any kind of tangible object. For me, success is helping others, whether it's on a personal level or with real estate. I just feel really good when I'm able to help somebody through a tough situation or give some advice, and they become successful. And part of being at Dunes Real Estate that makes me feel good is I am able to help people. And more importantly, they're able to help me, and sometimes they don't even know it. You know, so for me, that is success, being able to help others to succeed in whatever they're doing while I'm producing and being a big part of something. And in this case, Dunes Real Estate. I enjoy being a part of it. So that's successful to me. You know, obviously everybody wants to make more money, and live in a nice place and stuff like that.
Material.
But that doesn't really, that's not my barometer
It's not as
success.
fulfilling. And
No.
yeah.
I'm a successful person because of my person, of who I am. I try to stay on the right course, and stuff like that. So that's how I measure myself.
This is kind of off the cuff, but is there anybody that comes to mind for you when you hear the word successful, or is like a past mentor or anything, or?
Yeah, it's mainly people that work well with others and don't get too far ahead of themselves. Sometimes, like I'll take sports. I know big athlete. John played a lot of sports. Oftentimes you get people telling you how good you are, right? And I think the people that can get beyond that, because sometimes you're told how good you are, and then you start to believe it, and that can be detrimental to your success, right? Maybe you're not as good a baseball player as everybody tells you are, or whatever. It's the same thing in real estate. You're only as good as your next day, and helping people through that day makes you better. I kind of live off the premise, like I could share with John everything I do in a day. I'll tell you everything I do, whether it's real estate or whatever, and I'll still beat you. So that's kind of my goal. It's like I'll tell you how to do it, and let's compete. Let's
I'll
see.
give it away, but I know I'm going to do it better. And
That's right.
Yeah,
You can't keep up. Kind of thing. Even though some people obviously have and passed me. So, but
Not
still,
many.
you try to. That's how I would measure it.
Yeah.
Based on that, and make it fun. Make it fun for myself and for people. Yeah. Other people.
So, what's the best professional advice that you've ever received? Wow.
It's very simple. It's very, very simple. Don't quit. It's that simple. Too many of us stop whatever we're doing, real estate or relationships. It could be anything. Don't quit. You've got to commit to what you're doing and have a plan. And when I was told that at a very young age, I went to a financial advisor. I was probably 21 years old. And he asked me what my goals were. And I told him I wanted 20 rental properties, a vacation home, my own business, and all this stuff. And he said, what's your timeline? Do you want to try to get this done by the time you retire? And I'm thinking, no, I'm thinking more in the next 5 to 10 years, and he told me that that was almost impossible, is what he told me. So the gentleman that I'm referring to said, why can't you do it? Don't quit on your dream. You can do it.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough to have him in my life and other people in my life that helped me along, that got me to the point where I did own my own business. I did have the rental properties I wanted. I did have the vacation home, all in that short period of time. But again, it was a lot of people helping me along the way, just with advice or a kind word sometimes to keep me going. And when he said I couldn't do it, because he told me I couldn't do it because nobody had ever done it.
Yeah.
Right.
We wouldn't be here if somebody didn't do something for the first time.
Right.
Somebody found fire, right? And now look at us, So I just believe that I could, and I pretty much take that feeling with everything I do. I don't feel like there's anything I can't do.
Right.
There obviously are.
Yeah.
I have physical and mental, limitations or financial limitations or whatever. But I always believe when I start something that I will do it. And it doesn't occur to me that it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's my philosophy on that.
Which is great.
It's a great philosophy.
Yeah. What's the worst kind of advice that you, like in our given trade and in our area of expertise, real estate and things like that, what's the worst advice you kind of see given sometimes, whether it be by coaches or people out there saying stuff that you feel is kind of bad advice for people getting in the business?
I think telling anybody that they can't is a big mistake, because there's a lot of talent wrapped up in all of us.
Yep.
Right. And sometimes that talent just needs to be encouraged. So when somebody tells somebody, oh, you can't do that, if I had told you at the beginning of last year, I'm going to do X number of $1 million, a lot of people would have said, there's no way. Jeff, you're by yourself. You need a team to do that, or you need this to do that. And you have to ask yourself why. There's got to be somebody out there that's doing this.
Yeah.
When I started my initial business that I had in Charlotte, I wanted it to be bigger. And at the time, we were doing about maybe $1 million a year in revenue. But I wanted it to be bigger. So I got on a plane. I flew around to different places of the country to see what it looked like. What does it look like? Somebody's doing more than $1 million.
Yep.
So we ended up in a 20,000 square foot building with national clients. We were in the top 100 in the country in our business at one point, because you have to just know you can. Like, just because it hasn't been done doesn't mean it's not possible.
Correct.
So,
positive mindset and work ethic.
Yeah, my wife gets mad at me with my positive mindset sometimes. I used to wake up every day when the market was kind of really hard, and I had just started. I wake up every day, I sit at the edge of the bed, and I'd say, today's the day. And after about 3 weeks of that, of coming home every day, not having sold anything, she says, man, I wish you would stop saying today's the day. And I said, I can't, because every day I got this much closer to a sale, whether it was an extra phone call to that client, or I sent them something, or I made 20 more phone calls. I was closer every day. And eventually, when I woke up and said today's the day, it meant that I had a closing.
Yeah.
It meant that I got another thing under contract. So I
tried. Eventually, that went to 2 closings one of those days,
right.
and 3 closings,
and then 2 a week. And
you're kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it worked out quite well. So, but I think just having a positive, expectant attitude about anything you're doing is critical to your success. No matter with the eye or whatever. I tend to think more like life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it.
Yep.
Right? And at the end of the day, most of the things that happen to us that are bad, I tell my wife this all the time, it's a funny story at a cocktail party at some point, right?
Yeah.
The deal that you had that went sideways and was a real problem, and you were able to save it, and maybe your client wasn't as reasonable as you wanted them to be. Later, you're telling it with a smile on your face. So enjoy the process while it's happening, and you won't be so stressed out.
Yeah.
So, and just know you'll get it done. Yeah. One way or another. One way or another.
Yeah, like the guy falling through the roof at my listing.
Yeah, that's right.
Or the dead squirrel in the house.
But see,
there's all types of stories.
That's right. Yeah,
we need to pivot real quick.
No, we don't need to talk about that.
What? Somebody fell through a roof.
Oh yeah,
inspector.
Oh yeah. No, it was the buyer.
Or the buyer. Yeah.
Well, it was fun.
All right.
And then they backed out later on for some other reasons. It was. But Jeff, I had to go to Jeff about those because I'd be in that negative mindset. I'm like, God, like you won't believe what happened.
Nothing could really prepare you for that.
No, not at all. But that was kind of Jeff's mindset, and he would always instill in me is just keep pushing.
But you work through it.
But you'll figure it out. You find a solution, and then you laugh about it later on.
That's right. Even if that person doesn't make it happen, everything that happens to me is a learning moment. Like I don't really have failures, right? I don't think of anything that I haven't accomplished as a failure. It's a learning moment to get better. And okay, it didn't happen now, but now I've learned, so maybe I can make it happen later, down the road, kind of thing.
You use those moments instead of considering them as failures. They're like teachable moments.
Absolutely.
To help you get better, improve, all of that.
Yeah, I tell my assistant all the time. She walks in and she'll ask a question, and I'll tell her learning moment, and it makes both of us better. It reminds me of something.
That's how you grow.
That's right. Yeah, I agree. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, that was another question of mine was, did you have a kind of like a big failure in life that helped set you up for success later on? Like something that you're like, man, it just felt like the worst time, but then all of a sudden you realize that it made you better, stronger, and it led you to something better? Or
yeah, so the pivotal point in my life probably was I broke my back in high school. I played football in high school. I was going to play in college, and they recommended that I get on the wrestling team, and I did. And I did pretty well because back when I was in high school, it was just a bunch of really heavy guys that they weren't real wrestlers. They were just big guys. Yeah. And so I qualified for the state tournament, and that's where the real wrestlers are, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, they showed up.
They showed up, and they're ready to wrestle. So
they were there.
the guy weighed, I was in heavyweight. I weighed about 210 at the time, a little over 200. And this guy weighed probably 270. And he was nothing but muscle. And I went after him, and because we'd played football against each other, and he knew that I was probably quicker than him, and he was probably a little stronger than me. And I hit some sweat. I stepped in some sweat, and I slipped, and basically fell. My feet went under him, and he fell on me and broke my back. So that kind of changed my life in terms of where I was headed. That I thought was going to be the end, because, you know, I'm 18 years old. I'm thinking of playing football, and, you know, you're convinced that you're going to go to the NFL when you're 18, right? You know, and there was little chance of that. You know, I wasn't that good in hindsight. So it really got me on a trajectory that made me think, hey, I can let this define me as, you know, I broke my back. I can't do anything because I have a broken back, and use it as an excuse or use it as a motivator to take a different direction. And that's what I chose to do. So I ended up going to school anyway, and graduated and started a business and all that stuff.
And now you're living in Hilton Head, living the dream.
I know. Not much
Never
to
would have
complain
thought
about.
that back then.
Not much to complain about. I tell you, yeah, from where I came, I could not see this at all. It was very, very far away, you know. But as I got older and my world expanded, you know, I remember going to people's houses when I was in junior high. We switched junior highs. They built a new junior high. Junior high I was in was very farm-oriented, so a lot of the kids had to go work the farm and stuff like that. And we went to this other junior high that was closer to Duke University and, you know, stuff like that. So I got to see a whole new life, you know, and that really opened me up to, like, if they have this life and they can do these things, why can't I? You know, so I set out to find out. Yeah. So, and it got me here. So I can't complain at all about that. So living on Hilton Head is pretty special. Yeah.
What's something that you believe in that other people might think is like insane or like not? Help me out.
I would say the thing that that I get some pushback from is a lot of people, this is kind of a pretty important thing to me. People live their life sometimes by situations, right? They make up their decision based on the situation. You know, if I leave $1,101 bills on this table, you could walk in and take 10 of them and I'd probably never know it, right? But I'm the opposite. I kind of lead my life based on my principles, you know, and a lot of people think that's crazy because they're like, you know, nobody's going to find out. Who cares? You know, nobody will ever find out. That's not really the way I roll. So I tend to make my decisions based more on principles, and some people think that's
crazy.
Yeah. And people think that some of my goals are too lofty and not attainable sometimes, you know, and I don't understand why I can't. So I try to just do. To me, there's either you do it or you don't. Yeah. There's nothing in between. There is no try.
Right. You know? If you set your lofty goals and say you miss it by a little bit, it's still going to be way more successful than somebody who is like, oh, I'm just aiming down here, and then they miss, and they're down here. But you aimed up here, and you missed, and now you're just like a little bit behind, but you're still ahead.
That's exactly right. You always try to, and bring people with you. Success is, the more people that are around you, they help you, and they feed off of you, and you feed off of them, and it just makes everybody rises to the top. Right. You know, but you got to believe that you can, you know, for sure. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah. Going back to what you said before with like the friendly competition between the other agents, you drive them, they drive you to competition, and it makes everybody better because you guys are all just pushing each other.
At the end of the year,
it's fun to watch.
At the end of the year, you know, I know during the year, I look at the board and I say, oh my gosh, that guy just sold a $1 million thing or a $3 million thing. You know, he's catching up or he's ahead of me. Yeah. You know, but I keep my head down, and I think they do the same thing. They keep their head down. At the end of the year, the company's better off, we're better off, and we had a good time doing it. Yeah. Yeah. You know, so it made it more fun than so stressful. You know, a lot of agents are very, very stressed out right now. You know, during this market, it's very, very hard. But if you keep your eye on the ball and keep consistency, like we talked about with the restaurants, you know, people go back to restaurants because of that consistency. And I hope that people stay with me because of my consistency
right.
with helping them and stuff like that.
This is a fun one. If you had the opportunity, what would Jeff Hunt put on a billboard so that everybody driving by sees?
Ooh.
It could be one word. It could be a quote. It could be anything. What would you put on a billboard?
I think it's important if I'm trying to communicate a message to people, it would be very simple. You can. Period. You can. Now, if we're talking about business, one thing that I've had a lot of success with in some of my marketing stuff is I did a magazine ad, and I could put this on a billboard. The billboard would be black, and my name, Jeff Hunt, in white. And on the bottom of it, it says, sometimes the answer is right in front of you in black and white. And I've had so much success with that, over the years. Yeah. I'd probably do that from a business standpoint. But if I'm trying to communicate an ideal to somebody, just know that you can. Yeah. You can beat your sickness. You can make more money. You can travel. You can do whatever you want. But it's sometimes not easy. And that's the part where people have to get through it and understand that it's going to be hard. Life is hard. There's good times and bad times. Had a good year last year. I don't know what this year is going to be, but either way, I'm going to have fun doing it, and I'm going to know that it will always get better, even if it gets worse.
And that's the one thing, because I remember Jeff knows I'm a big Clemson fan.
So okay. And I still came to point that out.
But I always kind of hearken that back to Jeff with, like, when I was early on and I'd have situations or something. Dabo Swinney, who's the head coach at Clemson football, he took over as interim as a wide receiver coach. He wasn't a coordinator or anything. So a lot of people said Clemson was crazy. And every meeting from the time he took over till today, he brings in two signs. One of them says believe, and the other one says you can't with the T crossed out.
That's right.
And the players thought it was crazy. They said he was insane. And then by about, I don't know, he said halfway through the first year, he walked in without him one day, forgot him, and the players went nuts.
Yeah.
And then look what that created. Nobody ever thought he could do that. And, you always kind of had that same mindset. And I'd come to you and be like, oh, I got $1 million potential customer. I was, freaking out, thinking I'm too young. I'm 27 at the time. I can't go talk to these, Jeff just said, you can.
That's right.
I believe in you. You should believe in yourself. And
the mindset is definitely super important, especially for this. Like,
well, it helps. Your confidence is based on your belief.
Yeah.
Not anything that you've ever done. You just have to believe that I'm going to do it. This is what I'm going to do. Get out of the mindset of saying, okay, well, let's try it.
Yeah.
Let's not try it. Let's do it is better, right? If we try it, we're giving ourselves an out to move on to something else. If it doesn't work, I tried.
Yeah.
That doesn't really work. You gotta know you can do it and do it. And take charge of it. And it makes you happier.
Yeah.
Because you know that you're succeeding, even in incremental little tiny bumps up. You're still, you're getting closer to your success, which makes you feel successful, whatever it is.
Do you have any favorite quotes?
Yeah, I do. I had a young boy, a girl that this is years and years ago. She had 2 children, and one of them told his friends that Jeff knows everything. And he was going to come up with a question to stump me. And so I guess he gets me in the truck. We're going up to the cabin that I have in North Carolina and taking them 4-wheeling and everything. And he asked me, what's the purpose of life? Right? And I told him, I said, you're lucky because I know the answer. And he just fell out. He was like, he said, no way you know the answer to this. And I said, I do. And I said, the problem with this quote is when you tell somebody this, they have to be ready to hear it.
Right.
You can't just tell them the answer. They have to be in the right mindset, the right age. And as the person who has the information, you have to be cognizant of that. This person might not be ready to hear this. So we went on and on and on. He was like, tell me. And I said, the purpose of life is to lead a life of purpose. That's it. we overcomplicate so many things, right? You know, your purpose, you found your purpose in Asia and your child.
Absolutely.
Right? And you found yours in your future wife, right? So your purposes are starting to come together. And when you find that, I feel like then you truthfully can do anything because it's your purpose.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's pretty good.
I could see them sitting there like,
yeah. And he's 10 years old.
makes so much sense, but like you said, it's so simple, but yet it confuses people if they're not ready for it.
He's 10 years old, and now I'm going to his wedding in April.
Oh, wow.
And if you ask him today, you know, what's the purpose of life, he'll tell you that.
Yeah.
He'll tell you that. It's pretty funny.
That's awesome.
So you never know how something's going to land on somebody's ears, no matter how old they are. And it could be beneficial to their entire life. You know,
Oh, for sure.
He's a captain of on an airplane right now. He's 25 years old. You know, so he really
Sounds
really
like he's
stepped
found
up.
his purpose. So.
He did indeed. So.
Well, if you could go back in time, let's go back to 20-year-old Jeff. Now, it seemed like you believed a lot of this already at a young age, which is amazing because I think it takes some people a lot of time to get there. So not kind of some of the stuff you've already hit on, but anything that you could go back and give yourself advice, having the wisdom you do now at 20, is there anything else that comes to mind of, I would love to say this?
At 20, I was supposed to go to college, and that was going to be paid for, you know, for football. So that didn't happen. So I ended up going to aviation school to become an aircraft mechanic. And there were times that the lady would come into the room and tell me, you know, she needed money, you know, because I had to pay for my own school, needed money that I didn't have. I mean, I gave this poor woman $50, $100, you know, it wasn't even close. But she kept me in school. She didn't kick me out. So as I was going through that, it's kind of like the Brad Paisley song, you know, it gets better. You know, I would have to encourage myself at 20. There was a real rough spot there where I was like, I don't know if I can do this or not. You know, I mean, I owe these people a lot of money, and I don't have, you know, I'm cleaning cars at Hertz Rent-A-Car and stuff like that. So, and loading chickens at 3 o'clock in the morning on airplanes and for $25, you know. So
Yeah.
I just tell myself, you can do this. You got this. You know, it's going to get better. Do not give up.
Yeah.
You know, because it's easy to slide back, you know, and you just accept it. You say, you know, this is my lot in life. It's not a lot, but it's my life kind of thing. But it's not true. You can change your destiny wherever you came from.
Oh, yeah.
For good or bad. So your mindset has to be right. You know, to do
And also, it kind of seems like you, in a way, did that because it seems like you kind of always believe, like you kind of knew loading chickens and all this stuff that, like,
right.
you knew that at some point it's going to be better, you know?
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't have had that drive without it. You just
Well, I saw too many people. I grew up in a trailer park environment and loving family, but not a whole lot of options. But I got to see more people that had done something. And, you know, when growing up like I did, a lot of those kids didn't make it out, you know, because they just assumed that, you know, I'll get my own trailer someday, you know. And I just wanted more. I just wanted out. And when I couldn't play football, I thought that my out was over because that was really my only way, I thought, at the time. But I was encouraged by people, and I went to school, and my aunt and uncle gave me $500 to start with, but I had to pay them back. And they interviewed me for it, you know, because they wanted to know it was important to me, you know. And I went to school, and I paid them back, and as promised, and it worked out quite well for both of us, I think. I hope. You know, so.
Yeah.
Did for me anyway, for
Absolutely,
sure.
yeah.
For sure. You know, so what else you got for me today?
This is one I like, which, again, as long as we've been talking, we probably have hit on some of it. But let's say worst case scenario, the time has come to leave this earth. You can't, you know, there's nothing you can leave behind you in terms of money, possessions, scrapbooks, anything for Jeff Hunt's legacy, all you get to leave behind are pretty much 3 pieces of advice for anybody. Ooh. And that's what your legacy will be. What would that entail?
I probably would go back to the establish solid principles in your life and don't waver from them based on situations. If you can do that, it keeps you balanced through hard times and successful times, because both are equally as hard. Some people think, well, if you're successful, that's not very hard. It can be, because you start buying into a premise that people are telling you, that you're the best. And maybe that's not totally true. Maybe it's true in your small little world, but you can always be better. But if you stick to who you are, it makes for a happy, productive life, which also gets back to your purpose. Find your purpose, realize it, embrace it, and you will have a very, very happy, long life. That's my thoughts on that. Yeah. Little deep today. So
yeah,
hey, deep dive.
That's what we like, though.
Yeah,
words to live by. Well, I guess we'll kind of wrap it up with if you have anything else you want to say about Realtor of the Year. Obviously, one of the biggest honors you can get. Not only your top year, but then to throw that on top to say, hey, not only was he the best at Dunes, but he was Realtor of the Year for the whole area. So
it was really funny because I'm on the board of directors now at the Hilton Head Realtors Association, and I thought I was there for that. And I'm sitting there and I'm eating a chocolate chip cookie.
So you had no idea?
No idea.
Oh, okay.
They're announcing Realtor of the Year. I can barely hear the guy. And I'm eating a chocolate chip cookie. I got chocolate on my pants. I'm scraping chocolate off my pants. And I hear him say something about bicycles. I give the bicycles away every year to kids. And I said, wait a minute. And then he said he did 100 transactions or whatever else he said. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm looking around. My wife's up at the bar getting another glass of wine. So we're totally unprepared for this, And he says my name, and I was totally floored. Because I did, John. I looked around the room. So many deserving people, so many, and I was selected. So I was very, very, very honored to get that.
Yeah.
And we talked a little
bit.
bit.
I was thinking you may have knew just before or something.
No,
They could take a bathroom break or something.
Sean, the president, exiting president, had asked me about the bicycles, and part of the Realtor of the Year award is not just your sales numbers, right. It's community activity and stuff. And my wife and I have done these bicycles for forever. But this year was particularly hard with COVID and everything. I ordered the bicycles back in July, and middle of November, they tell me they're not coming in. And we had a little panic. And this is where it gets back to none of us are successful by ourselves.
Right.
So to think that Jeff and Christine Hunt did these bicycles is a big misnomer. The bicycles, the price of them went up 45%, and they were hard to find. And everybody, I had fellow realtors drop off money, checks to the office. Clients would drop off a few bucks, which helped to offset the cost of all of the helmets and some of the bikes. Because I didn't want to back off of what I had committed to the charities, so I was committed to doing it. So the fact that all of my friends and family and clients and other realtors from other companies even stepped up and said, hey, here's a check. What do you need? Daniel, our broker, we ended up getting about 50 bikes directly from the manufacturer, and they need to be put together. I was like, oh, my gosh, where am I going to find the time? And we probably don't have that many mechanics at Dunes Real Estate, right, to put together bicycles. So Daniel swings into action. Next thing I know, the outfitters in Palmetto Dunes, those guys stepped up and said, we're happy to do it. They banged them out like that. It was amazing. So the support that everybody gave me is probably, there's a lot of names that should be on that award. So not just mine.
Yeah.
For sure.
Jeff, very much appreciate your time today.
Well, thank you guys. It's always fun to get together with you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a great talk.
We need to go get some lunch, though. Is
Yeah.
what we need to do.
Go get a steak or something.
If you had ended up with the food, that would have been a little bit better.
We'll plan that out better next time.
Yeah, right.
We'll get some Uber Eats or DoorDash.
Yeah.
Something.
We got to eat ahead of time.
Have some chips and salsa on the table, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
No, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you taking the time and including me in the first. This is the first.
Yeah, it's the first
First
ever
one. I mean, we got to start
dunes.
big, right?
Well, I tell you,
Got to give something to chase. So. And you're already at what, 20 million to start the next year, I think?
Yeah, just under 20 so far. So we're
26 days in.
Yeah. It's going to be a hard year. It's going to be a very emotional year for buyers and agents. And I think it's important that as agents, we all remain calm and just realize we're going to. It's kind of like baseball. Mm-hmm. You know, if you bat 330, you know, you're hitting the ball once out every 3 times. Mm-hmm. You know, so you're losing more than you're getting, but you're still successful. And I think that as realtors, we need to apply that and just know that, you know, there's going to be multiple offers to get through it, because it's going to be challenging. There's going to be disappointment in getting deals together for our buyers. But if we just know that we're going to hit some of them, we're going to get some of them, and we're going to help our clients to get to the end of the year, hopefully with some sort of property in hand. So
you'll have many 0 for 4 days, but you'll have 4 for 4 days as well.
That's right.
And things will start happening and falling into place.
That's right. Yeah. John played a lot of baseball and was quite good, and so he can relate to that analogy. So.
Yeah. Everything goes back to baseball.
Everything's baseball.
Because you fail so much in baseball that it's
That's
like,
right.
It's not a game of failure, it's a game of opportunity. Because I can go
right.
back out tomorrow and try again, and I may have a 4 for 4 day.
I'm reminded of the song by Kenny Rogers that I can't think of the name of it off the top of my hand, but
is it The Greatest?
The Greatest.
Oh,
That's exactly
song.
what it is. It's a great song.
Great song.
If you haven't
Ultimate
heard it,
optimist, I guess you could say.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard it, it's about this little boy. He takes his ball and bat, and he throws the ball up and swings the bat. The bat comes around, and the ball hits the ground, right? And he does that 3 times, and 3 strikes, you're out. And he goes home, and as he's walking home, he realizes that he didn't realize how good of a pitcher he was.
Yeah.
You know, so it gets back to all in how we look at things. So that's a great lesson learned there for sure. So
I am the greatest.
I am the greatest. That's right.
He starts off as hitter, and then he realizes, oh, I'm the greatest pitcher.
I'm the greatest pitcher
anybody's ever
That's
seen.
Right. Yeah, struck the guy out. So
3 pitches.
Yeah, so it's good stuff.
Yeah.
So, but thanks again, guys.
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
Well, good luck
for everything
this
not
year.
only
We look
that you
forward to
do.
seeing you crush it, and we'll bring
I'm
you back
hoping.
on, and you have beat this year's numbers. We'll bring you back.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So, and why can't I? Right? I mean,
You can.
you know, it might be a little harder this year, but I'm certainly going to try.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
And
Not
and
many
make it
people that
happen.
work harder than you.
Yeah.
So.
So you just got to do it. That's what I'm going to do. My goal is to beat it. So I'll stick with that and just make it happen.
Yeah.
So
I
hopefully.
believe you can.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Is that any good?